So what happened is it happened over 3 years, and I believe he changed his camera over those three years. So he had 3 years to perfect it, and this 2009 was his better stuff. So let's have a look. Unfortunately, it's also summer here. Alright, so this is one of the videos he recorded with information. May the 17th, 2009. Now, I think this was 2 days after the Dr Leir one. So he's filmed it again. And this thing up in the sky here is actually the moon. This is on a Handycam, a Canon Handycam, with a teleconverter, an adapter, and a telephoto lens. So yeah, it's not going to be good as the P1000 Nikon, but let's see, the technology has progressed on a wee bit since 2009. You can see this is what we generally get on our smartphones, a blurry moon. And this is meant to be the alien craft. So we'll just look at it a couple of times. He's got, but that's not actually one of the lens added on the front. So he says here he was using a Canon DM back then on 58mm adapter. So the adapter is another bit in between. Tele-objective is a Sony brand. So they're connecting a Sony adapter lens to a Canon. Straight away we see that there could be a problem with the optics, where you mismatching brands together. Now you can notice the timestamps are different formats depending on the year. So 2007 it's there, 2008 it's like this, a straight line underneath. So obviously different camera, or they can change the format to a single line on the camera. And you can see the 2009 is similar to 2007, 2008 is different. There you go, look. Now have a look at this. If you weren't told this was meant to be an alien craft, and you had to go from what you're seeing, wouldn't you say that kind of looks like some metal object that seems to be circular, the edge of a camera lens, right? So straight away I'm suspect looking at some of these images that look like something that's on the camera itself. When you got single digit numbers, you don't know which one's the month and which one's the day number. Is it using the UK format, English format, or is it using USA format here? You see where the month and day get. I just have to explain that. So again, this is the guy that filmed it. I think he's lost a bit of weight since then. And that's one of the cameras he used. I think this is the 2009. So they got a lens here, and then he's touching something down here, like he's turning knobs on the outside here, which changes the focal length and moves the lenses inside the camera back and forth to get it in focus and all that sort of stuff. You can see here there's another bit. So it looks like two bits mounted in front of the handycam. So they're saying the Sony converter is that, which looks like it's just this bit here. So we need to explain what he's got here and here. These lights here. Well, I had a look on the map. Like I said, it could be distant house lights, but why wouldn't we get more of them? So sort of rule out house lights being locations where they've got wind farms, all visible from the bay that they're filming from. One going over this way and one going straight across, which is more explainable. So the red lights we can explain are most likely going to be a wind farm. So if we zoom down here, you can see all these little white dots coming off a road are all wind farm, and they go for quite a distance. But this is the current map, so they've probably added on a few over the years, expanding it. So yeah, or better known as lens flare. Maybe stick it further down. Of the reflected bits in the camera, if the more glass and things you snap onto the front of it, and if it's poor maintenance or damaged or whatever, you might get a part inside the camera there that reflects like a mirror onto the lens and creates a false image. And then you can adjust these things on the outside, they rotate around with more lenses, and you have the adapters lenses, and you can see it has all these settings on the outside that you can rotate around and set calibrate. Yeah, could have been, that's a hole. Has got the right angle. It's got these little lines that are, we're looking at a 3D object in 2D here, so we got these lines very similar to what's in the video. So a line, and then we got another line, then we got the outer edge. But how did he manage to get it to reflect, as I've shown you in the diagram here? We know it has to be somewhere in front of the sensor, but before all the telephoto does. Where's the moon? There somewhere, is it? Let's just watch this one again. Okay, so he's mucking around with the doll near the front of the camera that he wants to focus on. I think that's what he uses the moon for, focal eye focus. But you can see there it looked like it was chopped off. So there's something more going on in the camera for a square bit to be in the way here, which is chopping off some of the light. Alright, so now we've seen where the dot of lens flare is. You can see it's on that particular same angle as lens flare, right? There's the moon, there's the false image. It's very hard to see, but if you keep on watching, you'll see, you'll zoom in into this bit here, and the moon disappears, right? You never ever see him pan up to the moon after that point. Okay, you can start to see the lines. You can see it's been chopped off here. So there's a square part in the camera that's chopping off any of the light beyond that. else we'd see the whole probably of the. But not only has this one got pins inside, it's got grooves inside, and it has a thing that pulls out. With a little catch. And it's got little rollers here, which calibrates it by the looks of it. Look at that, lots of little rollers. So, could he have put something inside something like this and simply wiggled the wheel around, or maybe uncatched it a wee bit and just slid it slightly this way so it's in the way of the light entering the telephoto? That would cause a more of a reflection. That's my gut feeling what's going on here. The guy must have known he was hoaxing it. We want to better see you. Oh no, that one hasn't got the square bit, no. But it's certainly got all the extra bits around the outside that we're looking for. You see all that there. Are you with me, people? Are you? Of course, no one's going to believe it, right? Because if you can't match it 100%, they're not going to believe it still. Even though common sense says it's internal lens reflection. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And it might not be the exact part, but you can see that's going to sort of match up, right? And with that square bit in front, I only see a little square rectangle bit through it. Bingo. And this angle this way looks like he's playing around with it to me, with a lever or something there. And we know it has to be angled in. We know it's not truly looking at us, so we have to angle this bit through my analysis I've done here with the sphere. We know it has to be angled downwards. What's going on? Alright, we know it has to be angled down a bit. And the way I'm moving it around here, it almost looks like what he was doing when he was trying to adjust it, right, on the camera. It's very similar movement even. Again, it probably needs to be, we could rotate it around. So we've probably got the right angle here. So all we want is this little bracket on the outside, which you could have unscrewed and put inside that slide in bit to be able to control it, right? A Kiwi has debunked your ass again. Turkish man. Screw heads in there, but it doesn't mean he hasn't actually unscrewed some screw heads that go in this direction, right? There might be two little screw heads here. You can't quite see it in that one. But yeah, look, square bit matches up with that bit there. That hole there, if you unscrew a couple of screw heads and you wiggle it around, they're going to look like they're moving. Looks like a hole there. And then we got all that squiggly bits over here. Look, that matches up. That's a good match, I reckon. The alien heads here, you can see here, it looks like this bit here. What do you reckon? See what anyone out in the side chat there is watching.